This week's video is sponsored by a Patreon supporter, GodWorksOut. His YouTube channel delves into atheist issues and critiquing theistic beliefs. Head on over and make sure to subscribe. Being persecuted for one's beliefs is a serious issue worldwide, and Christians in the United States of America in recent years have received more than their fair share. This week's video delves into the most egregious side of humanity and its intolerance for the followers of Jesus Christ. Viewer discretion is advised.
Starbucks is whipping up a Christmas discussion over its new holiday cups. CBS 2's Erica Nochlin shows us why some are criticizing the simple red design.
This week, Starbucks unveiled its annual holiday surprise, the red cup, a symbol of Christmas for cult-like coffee lovers.
It's huge. People who don't even go to Starbucks regularly, they come during the holidays because we have the red cups.
But some customers are now saying this year's design, or lack thereof, is a disappointment.
It doesn't give me like the wow, it's Christmas, you know what I mean?
Starbucks seems to be using fewer holiday symbols in recent years and topped it off with 2015's plain red.
I definitely think it could have been a little more happy and like swirls or something on there.
Some are even calling the cups part of a war on Christmas this year. One Facebook user says, eliminate Christmas because it may offend somebody? What about the people who are offended because they're not going to have it? Another said, Starbucks humbugs. And on Twitter, hands up if you're severely disappointed by the lack of Christmas spirit Starbucks is showing with these lame red cups. But others say, who cares?
As long as the coffee tastes good, I don't care what cup it's in.
Starbucks didn't respond to a request for comment, but shows this on its website. This year, we wanted to usher in the holidays with a purity of design that welcomes all of our stories.
The couple of customers who come in and are like, why is there no snowflakes or this or that?
So has Christmas come too early, or is it not embraced enough? Erica Nochlin, CBS 2 News.
Oh, the humanity. This blatant example of the war on Christmas is just one of many examples of persecution against the Christian majority in the United States. Okay, seriously, can you honestly come up with a better example of a first world problem? Starbucks, a private company, has no obligation to spread any particular religious sentiment, as its singular function is to sell coffee. To that end, like every financially motivated corporation, Starbucks attempts to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible, and since the whole world is not Christian or celebrates Christmas, it chooses to decorate its disposable coffee cups in plain red. That's it. It's not a move to tear down Christianity or persecute Christians. It's one company's attempt to improve its image and thereby potentially increase profits by remaining neutral and respecting all of its patrons.
Kim Davis sits behind bars for taking a stand and refusing to issue marriage licenses to anyone in her tiny Kentucky county. In doing so, she's become a national symbol for many who oppose gay marriage because of their faith.
Under whose authority are you not issuing licenses?
The gay couple suing Davis had asked that she be fined, but in a surprise move, the federal judge decided to put her in jail instead, saying just a fine wouldn't be enough to bring about her compliance. At the last minute, Davis rejected a deal to allow her deputies to process same-sex marriage licenses that could have prompted her release.
She's been ordered to stay there until she's willing to change her mind, until she's willing to change her conscience about what that belief is.
Within hours of the judge's order, several Republican presidential candidates declared their support for Davis. Mike Huckabee said it removes all doubt of the criminalization of Christianity in our country.
Who will be next? Pastors, photographers, caterers, florists. This is a reckless, appalling, out-of-control decision that undermines the Constitution and our fundamental right to religious liberty. And Ted Cruz said, today, for the first time ever, the government arrested a Christian woman for living according to her faith. This is wrong. This is not America. Hillary Clinton weighed in saying government officials should uphold the law, and the White House said, the success of our democracy depends on the rule of law, and there is no public official that is above the rule of law. But a Wall Street Journal editorial responded, we don't recall President Obama insisting on the rule of law when his then Attorney General Eric Holder announced in 2011 that he wouldn't defend challenges to what was then the law, the Defense of Marriage Act. Protesters, both for and against Davis, are up in arms in Kentucky.
If you can't do your job, resign.
Today we come to stand for God and support our county clerk, Kim Davis.
Davis had hoped Kentucky lawmakers would find a way for her to keep her job and her conscience, but the governor has refused to call a special session. In the meantime, her deputies plan to follow a U.S. district judge's orders and issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples starting today. Heather Sell, CBN News.
June 26, 2015 marks the day on which the United States of America entered the Dark Ages and opened the floodgates of hell by legalizing same-sex marriage. Actually, when I said Dark Ages, what I really meant to say was 21st century. And when I said open the floodgates of hell, what I meant to say was take a giant leap forward in human rights and freedoms. Kim Davis, a government employee holding a position as county court clerk, refused to do her job of overseeing marriage certificates, and she was jailed for 5 days. Due entirely because of her religious bigotry, she instructed her office to issue no marriage certificates in direct contravention to the law. Now considered a martyr and poster child of American Christian persecution by many in the conservative religious right, Christian bigotry against same-sex marriage has a new spokeswoman. What many Christians fail to realize is that ending bigotry is not an infringement on their right to practice their religion. When an elected public government official provides a legal service for the public, they are required to fulfill that function. If they refuse to, on whatever grounds, they ought to be relieved of their position.
After a neighbor complained, Chuck and Stephanie Fromm were fined $300 for hosting the gatherings. City officials say they violated an ordinance, but the Fromms say it's their rights that are being violated.
The Fromms live at this 4,700 square foot home on a 1.5 acre lot in San Juan Capistrano, a prime location to gather with friends and neighbors. But they were recently ordered to stop their Bible studies and pay $300 in fines.
We got a notice of violation in the mail, and that's how we first heard about it. Right around the corner, there's a drug house. The drug issue is a public safety issue, and that's where the city should be concentrating its resources.
A city attorney released a statement to CBN News saying, quote, "The city does not prohibit home Bible studies. The issue with the Fromm case involves the question of when a property developed for residential use has been transformed into a place of public assembly. It further involves regular meetings at their home with impacts on the residential neighborhood, street access, and parking." But Brad Dacus of the Pacific Justice Institute is working with a couple, and he says that isn't the issue.
There is no parking problem. No one has a problem except one person who simply doesn't like the fact that Christians are meeting there in a Bible study.
One councilman is on the Fromm side. He thinks the ordinance should be reevaluated because of this case. The rule can apply to a gathering as simple as a football party.
I would be very surprised if we do not reevaluate this code and fix it when this is all over with.
In the meantime, the Fromms will continue holding their Bible study at the neighborhood clubhouse. They've also started the website Right to Gather to draw attention to their case.
God's in charge of the outcomes. I never expected this kind of where we're at now, this like worldwide awakening to freedom and the importance of it.
A hearing is set for October 7th. If the city can't reach a decision, Pacific Justice is promising a fight all the way to the Supreme Court if needed. Heather Sell, CBN News.
So, let me get this straight. A good Christian family running a Bible study out of their home has been fined by the city? Outrageous! Obviously, an example of Christian persecution that has nothing to do with the fact that their 4,700 square foot residential home on 1.5 acres is being used for non-residential purposes and therefore in violation of city ordinances. From the news report, you can clearly see a large structure on their property that is being used for a fairly sizable gathering, and so it really can't be reasonably argued that they are just inviting a few friends and family to read from their big book of ancient mythology. This particular neighborhood is zoned to be residential only and prohibits the transformation of its properties into places of public assembly, most likely to maintain its residential status. This is not an example of an evil government trying to suppress Christianity because of some hidden secular agenda. What this shows is just another example of where Christians feel entitled to be exempt from the law. Because, you know, Jesus.
Now the assistant high school football coach at Bremerton High School is on paid leave for praying on the job.
Joe Kennedy is known for praying before and after the football games. Bremerton School District officials say the leave is necessary because Kennedy refuses to comply with the district's order not to pray on the field while he's on duty. Kennedy had agreed to the ban, but he got support from a religious freedom organization, and the coach resumed post-game prayers as recently as Monday night. Kennedy's lawyer told us about 45 minutes ago, at this point his client is not going to speak out publicly tonight, but the attorney did say this: "We tried to meet with school officials in person, but they refused to meet. We were only able to have a brief hour-and-a-half call with their lawyer, and the result was a letter banning private prayer just a few hours before last Friday's game. It is unfortunate the school district is choosing litigation instead of a simple meeting." The district tonight said this: it respects Mr. Kennedy's own constitutional right to free exercise of religion and understands that it has a duty to reasonably accommodate that exercise. And here is what Kennedy himself had to say on Monday.
They're telling me that, oh, well, we'll give you a closet to go hide in. And it's like, I'm an American citizen, I'm a taxpayer, and this is my community. My kids go to that school, and you're telling me I can't do this?
And then this is new tonight. Just a couple of hours ago, Coach Kennedy posted this on his Facebook page: Bremerton Knights versus Squim Wolves. Winner goes to the playoffs. Forget me. And come support these incredible young men who will be battling on the field. My heart and mind will be with them. Put aside everything else and enjoy their senior night.
Okay, I think I've finally arrived on an honest-to-God example of Christian persecution. Joe Kennedy, a varsity football coach, a paid government official, was put on administrative leave because he refused to stop praying during working hours, i.e. during a football game. That's it. We have definitive proof that the United States has really banned prayer in schools. No, it hasn't. Employees of public government institutions, when active in their paid duties, cannot be found to encourage one particular religion over another. Religious students, on the other hand, can pray to whomever they wish, but their teachers, coaches, and other school staff cannot directly or indirectly showcase or encourage their beliefs onto others. Joe Kennedy and other public school officials are free to practice their religious beliefs when not on the clock. You don't like it? Tough. Your country's founding fathers ensured the separation of church and state for all times. The United States is not a Christian nation. It is a secular nation with a Christian majority. Enforcing the law of the land is not persecution, but rather an attempt to equalize, because it removes the unfair privileges afforded to some and not others. I will not deny or make light of actual Christian persecution taking place in Northern Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. No matter what thoughts and beliefs are within one's mind and not acted upon, it's wrong to cause them harm. However, when people of religious privilege claim victimhood when their special status crumbles, they not only cheapen what it means to be a decent human being, they trivialize the real harm caused to others in intolerant countries across the globe. One group of people believing in a particular magic man in the sky persecuting other groups of people believing in other magical beings is a shame. That is one of religion's major problems. Their beliefs are untestable and unfalsifiable, and conflict with each other. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and subscribe. If you can spare a few dollars to support the efforts of this channel, visit my Patreon page here and become a patron today. If you're looking for a great place to communicate with vegans, atheists, theists, and non-vegans from across the globe, consider joining the Vegan Atheist Forum. Our growing community is always looking for new members with whom we can share our experiences, debate issues, discuss and learn from each other. Join the conversation at theveganatheist.com/forum.